Hello, fellow crafters. My name is Lisa, and I want to thank you so much for joining me and watching my first video. I am excited to join the crafting community and to share my passion with others who have the same interests. In this case, I was inspired by a card made by Angela with Blue Belt Baby. I will link her video below. For the purpose of this tutorial, though, I'm going to create a card using my Cricut and my own drawing to show you how you can convert a simple hand-drawn picture into a greeting card. This technique works best when your drawing is pretty basic and not very intricate. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is grab my piece of paper and start drawing a sample of the gi top, picturing how I would like my card to look and just lightly drawing in the entire image. I will actually only end up using half of the top so that I could mirror the image and then it could be even on both sides. So once I'm happy with what I have, I'm going to pick the side that I like best. In this case, it's the left side, and I'm going to draw in or outline it a darker shade so that I can better see the outline of the shape that I will be using for half of the card. Once I'm happy with the way that it looks, I will then take a Sharpie and outline it once again with the Sharpie so that it will be easier for Design Space to pick up the image when I upload it. The next thing I'm going to do is go into my Cricut Design Space app and click on the Canvas button on the top right corner. I'm going to select Upload on the bottom toolbar and take a picture of my image. Then I will crop the image to remove the shadow and table, remove the negative space on the outside of the outline, and attempt to erase as much as the spackles that are kind of left behind after I remove the exterior, although most of it it won't pick up when I select next on my screen. What's nice about the next feature is if your lines are not smooth, you do have the option to smooth it out in the bottom right corner, and you just keep selecting smooth, and what it essentially is doing is fattening up the image until the lines look smooth. So I wasn't quite happy with the way it looked once I did that, so now I'm going to kind of clean up some of the edges, and that's what you see me doing here, just kind of going back and forth, cleaning up some edges and then smoothing it out, and cleaning up edges again and then smoothing it out until I'm happy with the end result. And once I'm happy with my image, I'm going to select Next again, and you will see that I will title my image. It will be saved onto my uploaded images. I will then select the image and select Insert, and it will be on my canvas. What I love about this is that you can draw a small image, and after you upload it, you can resize it to any size that you'd like, and it'll keep its shape. So what I'm going to do on the bottom toolbar, I'm going to select Actions and then Duplicate. Then I'm going to go under Edit, and there is a feature to flip it horizontally, and now I have both sides of my gi top. The next thing we need to do is make the back of our card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight both of my images. Right now I'm just kind of placing it where I want them, but I'm going to highlight it, and under Actions I'm going to duplicate again. Then I'm going to highlight it once more, and still under the Actions feature I am welding the gi top. So now the backing is one solid piece. What I'm doing now is arranging the layers so that I can better visualize my card, and then I will be changing the color of each side to white under the Edit feature so that the front of my card will show a white gi. In the toolbar under shapes, there is an option to add a line, and that will be the score line, which I plan on opening from the center, sort of a gatefold style, from the shoulder through the arm. And I'm going to add a score line on both sides. Now, in order for my machine to know exactly where to score it, I'm going to have to attach them. So I'm moving one side out of the way, putting the score line where I want it, highlighting both images, and under actions, I'm clicking attach. And I will need to do that on the other side as well. Once I have that done, the machine will know to score in that exact spot on my shape, which is a pretty neat feature. All right, so we're almost done with the design of this card. What I'm doing right now is I need to resize it. So I'm gonna highlight the entire image, and I'm just playing with the size right now. Originally I was gonna do an A2 size card, and then I decided about 5x6, I think was the size that I decided on. Then I can stick it in a 5x7 envelope. Once I get it sized to my liking, I can now add the sentiment. Once again, under the toolbar, I will select shapes and insert a square. Then I will resize it to fit the back of the card. At this point, you could just have your machine cut the rectangular shape and stamp a sentiment on it, but I'm going to go ahead and have my machine write it on there for me. As you can see in the toolbar, there's a text option, and I've selected System, which has all of the fonts that are downloaded on my phone. I selected Times New Roman, which is a standard font on most devices, maybe even all of the devices. Just keep in mind, if you are using a font that you've downloaded from other sites, they are for personal use only unless you purchase a commercial license. What you see me doing here is bringing the letters closer together. The way you would do that is highlight all of your sentiment, and under the Actions tab, you will ungroup it, and that'll separate each individual letter. In the Edit tab, there's a horizontal and vertical position. I'm just adjusting the horizontal position so that they're closer together. And then when you're ready, you just highlight all of the letters again and then group them. You'll see I made a mistake. I attached them, I undid it, I made adjustments again, and then once I was ready, I grouped them. Now I need to change this from cut to draw. So under the Edit tab, next to where you select the color, you'll see I selected cut, and then it gave me other options, and then I chose draw. After I have it sized and placed where I want it, I need to highlight the shape and the sentiment and attach it so that the machine will write it exactly where I placed it. Now we are finished with the design portion of our card, and we are ready to prepare our machine. I currently have the Cricut Explorer 2. I gotta tell you, I absolutely love this machine. I'm going to load the black cardstock onto my mat now and load the mat onto my machine, and then I will show you what the screen looks like when we're ready to cut. Oh yes, and don't forget to check that dial, change it to cardstock or whatever material you are using. Back to my phone screen, after I select Make It, you'll see that there are two different mats, and that's because I only selected two different colors for my project. I'm going to select Continue, and right now it's finding the Bluetooth device. Once it finds it, I'm going to select the device, and then it will prompt me to load my mat and to ensure that I have the proper tools in the machine ready to go. All right, after we push the flashing Cricut button, the machine will begin to cut the back of our card. before I cut the white cardstock, I did realize that it's not going to fit a letter size cardstock because I forgot to select the paper size. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel my cut, and on the top left corner I'm going to select that number 2. Then under material size I'm going to select 8.5 by 11 letter size and click outside of that screen. To minimize paper waste, we are able to move our image around before we make the cut. So right now I'm rotating my sentiment sideways and then bringing it all the way to the top. Now I am ready to make the cut, so I'm going to select continue, and it will prompt me to load the scoring stylus first, and then once it scores it, it'll prompt me to load the pen. So back to my Cricut, I'm going to load the scoring stylus in clamp A. I'm going to load the mat and then click on the flashing Cricut button. Once it finishes scoring my project, it's going to prompt me to load my pen. So I will load my pen and click on the flashing Cricut button again. Awesome. Now we are ready to assemble our card. After I finished cutting these out, I realized that I spelled wrenchy incorrectly, so off screen I corrected it and had it rewrite and recut that portion out. Now I am folding the cardstock at the scored lines and using my scraper to help make the fold more crisp so that it is easier to open and close the card. All right, now I am going to use my favorite glue adhesive. It's the Tombow multi-purpose glue. And I'm going to glue the back side of the arm on the white cardstock onto the arm portion of the black cardstock on both sides. What I love about using a glue adhesive is that I'm able to move my cardstock around before it dries, which helps me to line it up nicely. Once I get both sides glued on, I can now glue on the sentiment, which I realize I probably should have done before I got the arms on there, but that's okay. I can glue behind it and center it as much as possible onto the middle section of the black cardstock. For the belt, I'm going to use a black ribbon I have in my stash. Not sure where I purchased it. I had purchased it a long time ago. Anyhow, I'm going to tie this ribbon around my gi and my card will be done. When I drew this top, I flared out the bottom a little bit to give it a realistic look from where the belt is tied on. What I didn't think about is that the recipient won't be able to slide the belt on and off. It's no big deal though, he'll just need to untie it in order to open it up. The person who made the card that inspired me to do this made hers straight so the belt could slide off easily. She does have a digital file available in her Etsy shop to purchase, which I have linked below. That'll do it. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope it inspires you to create a card even more personal by adding a hand-drawn element. If you're interested in seeing other cards I've made, some with my Cricut and some without, feel free to visit my Instagram account listed below. Happy crafting, everyone, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.